Hello, beautiful soul. Have you lost a loved one and you're having a hard time healing from it? Or perhaps the disillusion of a relationship and you just can't seem to get past it? Stick with me for the next few minutes because I'm going to share with you a tool that is going to help you heal. I have been doing content now for over 2 years, and it can sometimes get a little difficult to figure out what message to share each week. So for this one, I decided to just be guided into what the message is. And I came into my healing room here, and I have paperwork, and I have journals and notes from previous messages that I share, and even future messages. But this particular time, I saw my journal, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to flip it open and see what comes up, what's on that page. And it was interesting because this is the journal. I flipped it open, and it was actually a letter that I had written shortly after the dissolution of a relationship that I was in. And I had been in it for quite some time. And I remember that particular evening that I was having a real hard time with some of the emotions that I was still carrying. And I decided to sit down and I decided to write a letter to that person. And what I have found is that when we have lost a loved one or a relationship has ended and we're carrying pain and we're carrying hurt, it's not necessarily always that we miss that person. And of course we do, especially if we've lost a loved one. It's also because of things that have been unspoken, things that we wished we had have said or done. So after I read this letter, and now, mind you, it had been written over 2 years ago, what I discovered is that I didn't feel those emotions anymore. And so the message this week is healing through writing. I don't want you to dismiss it. Now in this day and age, writing seems to have become a lost art. But the one thing that I know to be true is that when we write things down, we end up taking it out of our physical system. So, the message that I want to share with you this week and what I invite you to do is to take some time for yourself when you have a quiet moment and there are no distractions, to grab a pen, a piece of paper, or a journal, and to sit down and write a letter to that person. Dear blank. Don't edit it. Don't hold back on what you want to say. More often than not, during our healing journey through loss and grief and sadness and pain, it's things that we hadn't said that we wish we had have said. And so I invite you to write a letter to that person. You don't have to send it. In fact, I encourage you not to send it if the person is still with you, is still alive. And then when you've completed writing it, put it away. Don't think about it anymore. And then later on, perhaps 2 weeks later, perhaps 6 months later, perhaps from my experience, 2 years later, you go back and reread it. And what you will notice within yourself is that when you took it out of your system, you healed it. That old saying, you got to feel it to heal it, is true. All right? Let's take a quiet moment. My name is Christina. I am with Kimona Therapy, Rituals to Process Life, to release, reframe, and rise to your highest potential, all right? Click the subscribe button so you continually receive these messages in your inbox on a weekly basis. I post a video every Wednesday, all right? Take care. Namaste. Much love. I am Christina, your Reiki master and spiritual psychotherapist. Bye for now.